Friends, Greg Newmaster coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Star Wars The Vintage Collection Luke Skywalker Imperial Light Cruiser from the season finale of The Mandalorian Season 2. I gotta say, my wife and I are huge Star Wars nerds. We both cried when we saw that scene. Luke's my favorite character. And he's up there for my wife as well. And it was just such an awesome thing to see the full embodiment of Luke Skywalker, not what he was in The Last Jedi, a shell of his former self. Luke in his prime. It was amazing to see that in The Mandalorian. Then it was amazing to see it again in the Book of Boba Fett when he was training Grogu. So I was so excited to get this figure. He's my favorite character. So any Luke Skywalker that comes out, I normally have to get. So that being said, let's bust this baby open. And if you like this review, please like and subscribe. Help me build my channel. So let's do this. This is a nice image, very ominous, when he appears on Moff Gideon's Star Destroyer from the show. Very cool. Also reminiscent of Vader in the end of Rogue One, when he just lays the smack down on the rebels, which was awesome. One of the greatest Star Wars scenes of all time. So that's what he looks like in Mandalorian Season 2. On the back of the card, we got VC 264 in the wave. You get Darth Vader, The Dark Times, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Wandering Jedi. My card is really dusty from the packaging. Klatooinian Raider, Luke, of course, Cal Kestis. I'm going to do a review on him next. Cassian Andor from Andor. Artillery Stormtrooper, and Vel Sartha from Andor. So let's pull this baby out. I used an X-Acto knife to cut the pill. And I'm hoping that they improved this Luke and finally gave us the perfected version in terms of articulation. Let's take a look at his lightsaber first. This green lightsaber is iconic to me. The first time I saw this in Return of the Jedi, my face melted. And I think a lot of kids' faces melted because it was merely the color green. The same effect happened when people saw Episode 1 and the double-bladed lightsaber. It was just such an iconic lightsaber. And that's what Luke's green lightsaber is. Even though it's not that much different from Obi-Wan's, the hilt is the same. It's just a green blade. They definitely changed the lightsaber. I don't want to say that they improved it, but it looks sleeker. The older lightsabers had this igniting effect right where the light blade comes out of the hilt. So the new one doesn't have that anymore, and it's also skinnier, which I don't know if I like as much. I like the thicker blade with these smaller action figures. But a really nice lightsaber. It even has, it's a little bit of a darker green, I would say. If you can get a good look at that. It definitely contrasts from the previous lightsaber, which is more of a lighter emerald green. Kind of looks like a grass green. If you're familiar with the Prismacolor colored pencils. Let's see. What else? They keep giving this blaster with Luke. That's from Return of the Jedi. When he's in Jabba's palace. We don't really need this. They just keep giving us this accessory for whatever reason, but you get an extra blaster. So there you go. And you also get a lightsaber hilt, which is very nice. It was like the nice addition of the unignited blade. And there's a nice little port there, so you can port it onto his belt. The colors are real nice golds and blacks and silvers. Very beautiful. And let's pull this baby out. This is what it's all about. So they actually made his cloak black, and that's how it was on Mandalorian. But it was always confusing as a kid watching Return of the Jedi because the cloak that he wears is actually brown. But just because of the lighting, it always looked black. Let's take a look at these faces. So they gave Luke more of a proper dark brown hair. Though I didn't mind that they made this like sandy blonde color, because Mark Hamill was blonde in the original Star Wars, and then in Empire Strikes Back, his hair got darker, and then by the time it was Return of the Jedi, he had a very light brown hair. But man, they really, I mean, it's the same face sculpt for the Mandalorian, but the shading is just out of this world. It looks so good. I just think it's so beautiful. Man, knocked it out of the park in terms of the face sculpt. I love the long cloak and cape. Just very regal, majestic, badass, whatever adjective you want to use. And he just looks great. He has the black glove on as well, where the Return of the Jedi Luke does not have the black glove because his hand wasn't wounded at this point. Really nice hood. Very big and bulky, and it conceals his face. Where if you look at the Return of the Jedi one, it's not as long, so it doesn't conceal as well. So I'm going to take this off, and let's get a good look at the articulation. And just compare a little bit. Even so, like the Return of the Jedi version, they really went for this all black look for Luke in Mandalorian. Where in Return of the Jedi, his tunic is kind of gray. It's grayish. So I liked how on the Return of the Jedi version, he has different shades. Now, as you can see, the pants and the boots are different. The legs are much thicker. And then they even lengthened the tunic on Luke, which it looks more like a traditional Jedi. And they sculpted on his belt, which I appreciate. One of the previous Lukes from the vintage collection, the one where he builds his lightsaber, comes with a belt like this. So I just took it off, and I would always put it on this Luke. I still have that other Luke. I just don't have it out right now. And I just always like to put the belt on him like that. But yeah, he looks great. So we have a rotation in the torso. Unfortunately, there's no crunch, which really irritates me, because they have the chance to finally make the perfect Luke, and there's no crunch. Now, the Last Jedi Luke does have a ball joint and a crunch, and I love that. That's excellent for the Last Jedi Luke, but they didn't do it with Return of the Jedi, and I thought maybe they swapped out the legs, but they didn't. Looks like a new sculpt on his legs, which I really appreciate. Now let's see, this is another thing. They didn't give him the T-joint hips. They gave him the Y joint, which I do not like. It is a little bit better, but it's not perfect. They could have just went the perfect route. See how it's like a V there? And when you lift his leg up, it goes up in a sort of a Y position instead of straight up. For instance, like this is how all the crotches should be on these 3.75 figures now. That's the perfect way to do it. And still, they have not done that. So they perfected the Darth Vader figure, in my opinion. This Luke looks great, but he's still not perfect. Really good bend in the knee. What else do we have? We got the hinge in the ankles, and we do have a pivot, so that's an improvement, because Return of the Jedi does not have that pivot in the ankle. There's just a hinge. What else do we have? It looks like the arms are... Yeah, the arms are new. You can see in the fold in the elbow sleeve, so that's nice. So they improved on that as well. We have the standard hinge in the wrists. So we got that nice weapons holding hand hinge, which I love. And then you can put his lightsaber in there. Looks really fantastic. He just looks so badass on The Mandalorian. Just one of the best scenes in Star Wars I've seen in a long time. This upper torso is just the same. I wish they would have redone that. because it does look a little bit different on the Mandalorian. We have really nice head articulation. It's just the single classic one peg. It's not the double barbell. So they didn't change that. Unlike on the Last Jedi Luke, they did give him the new double barbell head articulation. So I'm really surprised that they just didn't fix that. They should have. What else? Really nice bend in the elbow. More than 90 degrees. Just the standard articulation in the shoulders. Looks pretty good. He looks great. Just really beautiful figure. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe. We have Star Wars The Vintage Collection, Luke Skywalker, Imperial Light Cruiser. God bless you all. Peace.